What's up, YouTube fam? Alright, I've taken a little time and I decided I will get into this. The three stories of why I believe there's an afterlife, and I do believe that there is strong spiritual presence among us. I don't think it's harmful at all. I'm going to go way back to my childhood. You ever seen the movie Sixth Sense and you see where, I see dead people and kids can see things adults can't and stuff like that? What about their imaginary friend? Stuff like that, right? Right? Story number one. My imaginary friend when I was little was Mr. Peabody. And I seen him with the work shirt, like he worked in a changing mechanic oil, the dark blue kind of attire with the name here, Mr. Peabody. Okay, Mr. Peabody right there, name tag. Stitched in, embroidered in. Never forget that. That was my imaginary friend when I was little. Well, years, I'd say maybe a year or two, maybe three, I had this imaginary friend, and well, the only way I got rid of Mr. Peabody was he died, and he was in a box in the woods, okay? And I had a whole story behind it, right? Well, around our area, come to find out, there was a Mr. Peabody that was found in a box in the woods, not around my house, but out in the woods. And he worked as a mechanic. And it was around that time. Now, that's pretty chilling. Okay, this is true stories. This is what happened from my childhood. Okay. My next story is my first wife. Her mother was married to the father of her first son. And I'm not going to give any names here. I'm going to try to, protect their privacy. But my hand on the Bible, this is true stories. He had, I believe they were, she said they were in Germany. And her son's father was, I think it was, where was it? All right, it was far away. It was they were on a river rapid, rafting trip, and he was trying to save some other people, and ultimately he lost his life in doing so. That very morning, her son John had come to her and said, "My daddy's dead. He's dead," and he was, 4 or 5 years old, something like that, in that range. All right, some of that escapes me, but I can promise you this is all fact. And so she had told me that morning she saw a figure after she made the bed. She saw a figure like someone was laying on the bed or had laid on the bed. All right. Well, she's leaving out, going to work, and at the mailbox, she saw him standing at the mailbox. But she got closer, disappeared. Well, it was later that John had come up to her and said, "My daddy's dead." So she's like, "No, he's fine." And she called and checked on them and found out he had died trying to save some other people in that rafting accident. Okay. There's a lot more to that story, but I'm not going to get into everything. Just giving the gist of this. Not only just to save time, but just to save their privacy as well. Because if I tell too much of it, everybody's going to know who I'm talking about. But anyways, on to the third story. And this is the one that hits the most home with me. It was my mama and papa. They were married for over 50 years. And whenever he come down, he was terminally ill with cancer. and she went down right with him. But the doctors and medical staff couldn't find anything wrong with her, and they ultimately said it was grief. And he passed away. And then what was it? Was it 3 days? Was it 5 days? I have to go back and look, but it was within just a handful of days. She passed away right behind him, and they had nothing to say, but it was grief death. But the night before she passed away, she came completely normal. She was comatose. She was completely out of it beforehand. But she come back completely normal, and she looked over at his rocking chair. Ooh, it's emotional. I just gotta kind of remember I'm talking on YouTube here. Telling this story starts to make my eyes water a little bit, but all right, I just gotta tell the story. All right, no chill bumps, no motion. All right. She looked over at his rocking chair, and she said, "Robert ain't gonna be here no more, is she? Is he?" And I looked at her and said, "No, Mama, he ain't." And, hold on. Excuse me, y'all. Okay. And, so, I was very surprised. And so I called everybody. I called my mom, I called my aunts, and they called the great aunts, her sisters, and, they come over to see her. And, so it was getting late at night, so we all, took her to bed and was saying goodnight to her and stuff. And she said, she looked up over in the corner of the room, and she said, "Who's that sharp-dressed man over there in the corner?" We all looked over in the corner. It's like, "No, Mama, I don't see anybody. What are you talking about?" And she said, "That man's asking me to come with him." We all looked at each other. And I said, "Mama, ain't nobody over there." She says, I know. Well, she went to bed that night, and she went to sleep, and she didn't wake back up. And that's why I know there's something out there, all right? You better believe there is a higher power, and there is heaven, okay? All right, y'all. Hey, y'all. There's something I meant to add to this video. It's kind of a PS moment, okay? There was something that I didn't add into the video that I should have. I meant to add it to it, but I got so caught up in emotion that I completely forgot where I was going after that. But it was the fact that we always used to play dominoes. And that's another testament of why I'm so good at numbers, maybe, because I can add things up so well. We'll play games, I can just, it's just like it. All right. But I would always play them with checkers. My uncle, my brother, my papa, they'd always beat me. I could stay in there with them with the dominoes. I'm still really good with that, But the checkers, they would get me. And chess, of course, games like that. But after my papa passed away, during those wake days, we would all gather around and we would play these games. And playing checkers with my brother Andy and my uncle Rick, they would wax me. They'd tear me up. Well, one night I went to sleep and I just really wanted to win. I just wanted to do something. And I had a dream that Papa came to me and he told me how to win. And it was just something that just clicked in my mind. Something he was telling me in that dream. Maybe go into that subconscious I was talking about. But I swear to God, my hand to the Lord, this is a true story. And they can vouch for this. But that next day I went and I told them before we started playing, I said, hey, look, I had a dream. Papa taught me how to play checkers better. And he says, I'm going to be able to beat y'all. And I don't think, I know they didn't let me. I know they didn't let me because of the reaction and everything. But they didn't win a game. Neither one of them won a game against me all day. It was just like everything was working. I just seen every move like 5 whatever steps ahead. I don't know. I can't explain it. It was like he was moving my hand for me. I have no idea. And they got done playing with me. I said, I really think he's right. I think there was something that happened. I think he really was teaching you something. And they really had kind of a pale look on their face. And it was very, very surreal. So the next day I played and it was kind of back to normal. I just kind of normal myself, maybe a little bit better. But now don't get me wrong. I can beat most people, but in our family, we probably should have went into competition, especially in the dominoes. And when I go to everywhere I've worked, I play people in dominoes, and I don't care if I play with a partner or heads up. A lot of people say dominoes heads up is a lot of luck. It is, but you got to play what you're dealt, and you got to be strategic. But you play with a partner, especially if you've been playing with that partner, you know that partner. But if you can communicate, a lot of people can, without the other team knowing that you're talking across the board, but I digress. But I'm definitely going to tell you, there may be something to that subconscious with that, but I definitely know that there's a higher power involved. All right.